Hey guys, and welcome to Little Black Book 91. We are talking to you guys, episode 3 now. We're dealing with this question, which is, I've just listed some 8 things women should be doing if they're dating someone who's a high value male, or if they're considering dating a high value male. Now, ladies, please don't take offense, but take offense to the fact that I'm going to say these things, okay? It is what it is, and it is what it is, all right? So we appreciate you guys. If you're new to the channel, like it, share, subscribe, click on the bell button for notification of the what uploads. And for those of you who are returnees, you already know what it is, baby. You got the minerals. You got the minerals. Stay hydrated because the streets out there are hot. Now, let's talk a little bit about this. We've been saying, making a distinction between high value and high resource for the last 2 episodes. Now, and again, just pinpoint that evidence again so we get an understanding. High value being a fair return, okay? So a good exchange of goods, meaning that if you're dating a man, this man should be kind, loving, caring, a man that leads very well, a man that is going to be true to his word. We're not talking about somebody who's high resource, okay? You want to talk about high value versus high resources? Russell Wilson, Future. They're the 2 examples, great examples of what high value and high resource means. When someone's high resource, they can supply goods to you, like wealth or fame. They can give you those things, but do they care about you? Is there a fair exchange? Will you feel shortchanged when you interact with them? High value men don't make you feel shortchanged when you're dating them or loving them or being married to them, okay? All right? That's what we're talking about here specifically, okay? Now, relationships always break down. I can't guarantee you're going to make it work. But we got 8 things here. Women should, I believe, I should believe that you should be doing, all right, or be in the midst of doing, all right, if you're going to be dating someone. The first and foremost thing, guys, is to pamper yourself, ladies. When I say pamper yourself, it means to take care of yourself physically. It's honestly the first thing. Look at this biblically before we even look about the world, okay? And beauty is subjective, by the way. Okay, there's a story in the Bible called Esther, and I always use this as an example. When Vashti was taken from the throne, when Vashti was removed from being a queen, okay, they said that the king Xerxes was now looking for a new wife. They searched first through beauty. That was the first thing he was looking for. Okay, that was the start of the process. That was not what made her a wife, Esther. There was a whole process to go by, but they started by saying, who are the buffest, finest, sweetest, good-lookingest women in the land? Bring them to me, okay? And then he's going to choose. But in the midst of that, okay, before they got chosen, they would have to then pamper themselves for 6 months, two times that ago, so it's basically 12 months. But it would go through separate beauty treatments to get to that place. Now, that doesn't mean go and get a BBL. Okay, but if that's what you want to do, that's up to you. I don't advocate for that. Okay, but it means beautify yourself. If that means makeup, get makeup. I personally don't like makeup, but I'm not the target audience. So, if that means makeup, get makeup. If that means changing your wardrobe style, change that up. If that means, getting doing some makeup stuff that you have to do, whatever you need to do. You do what you need to do to pamper yourself, nails, hands, toes, whatever, and look your best. You understand? Because when you even look your best, you feel your most confident anyway, all right? So looking good is the first and foremost thing. You should be pampering yourself. You should be taking yourself out. You should be making sure that you look as best as you can look. It is what it is, okay? It is what it is. If you wanna fight over that, fight down the road, all right? Because we see this all the time, even biblically. When Jacob went to find his wife, he saw Rachel. He said he saw Rachel and saw her figure, saw how fine she was. All right, then he kissed her and then he fell in love. Listen, it's mad. Listen, the Bible will be telling us these stories. When Jacob, talk about Jacob's father, Isaac saw Rebecca and he said the figure was fine. Abraham saw Sarah and the figure was fine. Listen, man, them are looking. So the first and foremost thing is looking your best. Beauty is subjective. So make sure that your confidence matches your beauty, because that's actually what gives the real aspect of it, yeah? That's what really gives the edge. The edge here is the confidence. Self-confidence, self-love, doing that emotional work behind the scenes helps to magnify this beauty, which is point number 2. Self-love, self-care, healing is so important because it brings out the beauty, not just looking good, not just being sexy, not just being seductive, but actually working on self to develop that confidence in self, and that emanates outwardly, and men are drawn to that. They want to know what's got you feeling so sweet, the way you're walking, like, and the way you're talking and the way you're moving. What's got making you feel confident? That's what men are looking for. Okay. I want to focus on this point as well, which is leading on from that. Your nurturing nature. Okay, your feminine energy. If you want to talk about that, your nurturing nature. Okay, and I kind of break it down a little bit into how do you take care of a man. Nobody's asking you to make him a baby. Okay, what we're talking about is how do you take care of a man. How do you see taking care? Some women are actually against taking care of a man. This is just what it is, right? If you're against that, it might be a little bit more difficult attaining a high value male, all right? Because they have a plethora of women to deal with. Okay, so taking care of him, all right? That doesn't mean necessarily paying any bills or anything like that. What we're talking about is how do you move alongside him? Do you plug the holes that you can see? Are you able to cover him in certain areas? The Bible says love covers a multitude of sins. Are you able to cover him? Are you loyal to him? Right? Do you say kind words to him? Do you respect him? Which is point number 3. I don't want to go too deep in this, but do you know how to appreciate him? Right? Okay? It's the little things, It's the little holes. He forgets something. You say, oh, babe, I've got it. I'll go and get it for you. Or you said, I know you were going to forget it. I've already done it for you, babe. Don't worry, I've sorted it out. Things like that, covering little holes. If you've ever been a manager before and you have an employee that works with you, right? And they cover you in different areas like, oh, no, I haven't done that. They said, no, I've done it already for you. It's done. It is different, right? It's different. Right? And this comes through time and understanding and knowing each other, that you're able to plug in the holes because you realize where their strengths and their weaknesses are. Are you able to cover that person's weaknesses? That's part of your nurturing nature. All right? Yeah? Do you have that soft side about you? Will you, and listen, point number three, I guess. Is he able to rest his head on your knee? I've done a separate video on this some months back. Can he rest his head on your knee? Does he feel safe enough? Does he have enough peace to rest his head on your knee for you not to kill him? Can he tell you the secret of his strength without you cutting off his hair? Can he be vulnerable without you throwing it back in his face? These are key questions. If you can't do that, you don't need to be anywhere near, not just a high value man, any man. Okay? All right, but we're specifically dealing with high value men, right? Okay? So this is what we're talking about in this area. All right? Another aspect again here is dealing with the aspect of you being able to support him with words. This is one of the most important things. I will say this: being his biggest supporter. Are you his biggest? Your words. This is very important. So now for you being his greatest supporter. Don't let any woman be a greater support than you are. Don't let someone else's words be more infectious to his growth and to his success than yours. When he falls down, you're the first one to say, babe, I believe in you, get up. When he's winning, you're the first person there to clap. Right? You're the first person to encourage him. You show belief in him. Even when he feels like he's doubting a little bit, you are the confidant that's able to speak life into a situation. There shouldn't be anybody greater than you. Don't let anybody be greater than you. I'm telling you, man. Don't let them do it. Don't let them do it. Okay? All right? Amongst that, number 4 on. Beauty should be coupled with wisdom and counsel. Beauty should be coupled with wisdom and counsel. There's a story in the Bible with Abigail and David. 1 Samuel 25 from verse 23 to 25. I'm going to read from verse 23. It says, when Abigail saw David, she hurried and got down from the donkey and fell before David on her face and bowed to the ground. She fell at his feet and said, on me alone, my Lord, be the guilt. Please let your servant speak in your ears and hear the words of your servant. Let not my Lord regard this worthless fellow Nabal, for his name is so is he. Nabal is his name, and folly is with him. What the context of the story is, Abigail comes to meet David because David is asking Nabal, her husband, to come and help support them while they're in war, because David has supported them whilst he was in trouble. And when he asks Nabal, her husband, for help, he denies it. But the servants hearing this went and told Abigail that David said, I'm fine. If that's what you're saying, I'm going to come and take everybody else out. I'm going to finish everybody here. Right? And Abigail rushed in wisdom and in counsel and in understanding, came out to David, bowed down and said, David, hey, my husband's a fool. Listen, don't worry about that. Listen, baby, listen, he's moving mad. Don't worry about that. Listen, right? And in that, David didn't slaughter the whole household. She saved her whole household. Right? Now, the story later on is even more mad. Maybe one day we'll talk about that. Right? She saved her whole household. Okay? Wisdom, counsel, knowledge and understanding turns a man away from his wrath and his anger. I am not saying you should deal with men who got anger issues. I'm saying men who have a justifiable anger in a moment. How are you able to speak to him in that moment? Will you bring him down or will you take him further higher in his anger? Do you have the ability to be wise? And the Bible says that wisdom was described as a woman. Are you able to be wise and speak good words in those moments? Or will your words incite further fuel for the fire? Right? Key thing. Beauty must be matched with wisdom and in counsel. Okay? All right? And that kind of relates to being his peace. We can be that point as well. Being his peace. Being his peace, what that really means, what that really looks like, is that you don't war like everybody else wars. You war with diplomacy, and you war with a mind that you're winning the war, not the battle. Okay? It's not about being right. It's about the fact that, hey, look, for the benefit of this family, for the benefit of you and I in this relationship, I choose certain actions. Sometimes I choose to lose because I understand that there's a war to win. And there are other fights that I know I must fight because the family will suffer if I don't fight. We must be able to be, and this is why wisdom, I said wisdom beforehand is important, because being his peace comes through wisdom. People don't realize that. How did Solomon manage to have peace in all the lands around him? Solomon, a king, managed to have peace around him. Yes, David had done all the fighting, but when Solomon came upon the throne, his wisdom caused for man to have peace all around. Ladies, being his peace is about your wisdom. Sometimes being quiet, sometimes speaking, sometimes fighting, sometimes knowing when to do something else. Wisdom. Principle thing. Wisdom. If you lack it, pray for it. The Bible says that in James. Okay? My next point is this. This point here, submission. Okay? Submission. Right? When submission is done right, in accordance with a leadership that is loving, we get an absolute dynamite relationship. Right? This is why I said in the last video, I said you want a man that's going to lead in love. Women want to surrender. You want to surrender, but you want to surrender to somebody who's going to lead you with love, not with fear. And this is why you have to also do the healing, so you can also spot somebody who leads in love, not in fear, so that you can surrender in peace and not make it a fight every time you have to submit. Okay, all right. So surrendering in these moments is all about choosing the right character individual as a husband, and then making sure that your submission is from a place of wisdom, because that gives you the peace to be able to do this thing. All right. Okay. And that submission allows for a bendability. So sometimes when you realize, okay, I've just got to go with it right now, right? And that will allow for peace to reign in your relationship too. All these points are kind of interwoven. All right. So submission is key. If you're not going to submit, you're going to reduce a large percentage of high value men, because there are many women who are willing to submit, but you are going to be causing issues because you don't want to submit. And we see what happens oftentimes when a woman that doesn't want to submit. We saw it Vashti versus Esther. Now, bearing in mind, there were other instances within the Vashti and Esther story. Things like, that the king was drunk at the time and There were other parts of that story. But the key point to focus on here is submission. She didn't submit in that moment. She thought she knew better. So do you know what? If you think you know better and you want to disobey, you go to the left. And the reason why you disobey is because you don't trust the leadership. When you trust people's leadership, you don't disobey, because you realize that actions towards you are done for your benefit and your purpose. Okay? My final 2 points to focus on, okay, are asking key questions. What is the vision for the family? If you're a woman going into a relationship with a high value man, you should be asking, what is the vision for us? What is the vision for us? What does he see as a vision for us? As we're going back and forth. And what is your vision for the family? How do you see it? Because if you can't mesh here, this ain't gonna work. You might not see yourself as a housewife. Or if you don't, then maybe this might not be the relationship for you. You might see yourself as a career woman. Okay, if you're a career woman, how does that work if we're gonna both do that? Let's have these discussions. And my final point is this one. Where do you see your particular role? What is your particular role? You as a woman, where do you see your role? And where does he see your role within the family? So beyond the vision now, within the vision now, what do you see as your role, and how does he see your role playing out? What does he expect of you, and what do you expect of him? Expectancies that are silent will be the loudest killer. Like, share, subscribe, and click on that bell button for notification of uploads. We appreciate you guys. Stay locked and stay loaded.